Welcome hunters to QuickPlay here in Hunt Showdown. In this guide I will cover all you need to know to be the sole survivor. This guide is mostly meant for beginners, but there will be a tip or two for the more experienced hunters as well. We begin with a quick introduction to what QuickPlay is all about. Next up, step by step, what to do from the start of the match to being the sole survivor. After this, we'll go over what kind of strategies you can expect or utilize yourself. And lastly, tips and tricks for a general QuickPlay match. Now, what QuickPlay is all about is just as the name suggests, simply a quick match where you're on a timer called the Wellspring. The Wellspring will start at 449 points, which depletes over the time of 15 minutes. To survive, you need to activate it and stay alive until it runs out. To activate the Wellspring, you need to either close 4 rifts or kill the Wellspring carrier. You can drain the Wellspring faster by killing other hunters while carrying it. For each hunter you kill, you will drain 25 points and shorten the time you need to survive. You'll start with a free hunter of your choosing with just one basic weapon and nothing else. Now you have to find your loadout by looting as you travel through the map. And you also earn traits each time you close a rift, as well as XP and money for how well you perform overall in the match. Everything you earn or find in QuickPlay, including your hunter, is kept for you to use in the bounty hunt as long as you're the sole survivor. If you die, you'll simply gain a portion of the XP and money you had before your death. You have no allies as this is solo mode only, and you have to be the hunter with the Wellspring activated when the timer runs out. Everybody that fails to do so will die as the damned soul burns. QuickPlay is a great way of earning money, XP, loadouts and hunters, not to mention that QuickPlay can be used to try out new things, unlocking gear or simply warming up. The only thing you risk in QuickPlay is the already free hunter. Choosing a free hunter, I recommend you start with the shotguns as they are much more beginner friendly to use. But if you're already a good shot, go for the medium range as pistols will counter the other loadouts and you have a sidearm for when you pick up your first primary weapon. I will not recommend going melee as your opponent either has to be deaf or blind not to notice you getting close, and a shotgun will still outdamage you with a one shot to the body. I won't recommend going random either as it has no benefit and serves no purpose unless you just don't know what to pick. As for what skin to choose, simply pick the hunter with the best camouflage as you may need it when setting up an ambush. Now the hunt begins, and the odds are that you will often have another enemy hunter spawning close to you at the same compound. So, have your eyes open and either try to take out competition or be the first one to reach the compound to loot a better loadout. If you and your enemy are both in the compound, it will most likely be the most fitting loadout that will win the fight. Sorry, dude. But you also risk that your enemy will wait for you to leave the compound, or another enemy hunter will come from another compound to ambush you. Here is a map of the possible spawn locations, which is important to know as some locations like Stillwater Bend only has one natural spawn point and you rarely have to worry about enemy hunters early on. The map is also important to know as you have to plan your routes so you won't have to spend your time running across the map, and going for the double rift compounds saves you a lot of time. Just be aware that these compounds often will be targeted by other hunters as well. Now that you have a loadout and a route, be sure to listen and watch out to see if you can set up an ambush and take out some of the competition. The more hunters you kill, the less you have to deal with when you are going for the Wellspring or the Wellspring carrier. If another hunter activates the Wellspring, he or she will most likely sit inside the boss lair with traps and a shotgun waiting for easy kills. But your primary concern is not to take out the Wellspring carrier just yet. Instead, you should focus on getting to the Wellspring carrier unnoticed and watch out for other hunters having the same idea. I suggest you approach the compound from the most unsuspecting direction while using as much cover as you can. When approaching the compound with the Wellspring carrier, be sure not to crouch walk until you're inside the same building. The reason for this is that most of the remaining hunters will often sit either inside or outside the boss lair waiting for easy kills. And they will keep sitting there until the carrier gets into a fight or the Wellspring is running out. Keep in mind that even if you are fighting a wellspring carrier, it is more than likely that other hunters will still target you instead of the carrier. Now let's say that you are alone for a moment with the wellspring carrier and you are about to take him out. Always check for traps before you make a move and know what entry and exit points there are in the building. You can always use your dark sight to see his rough position, while he only has his eyes and ears to find out where you are. Use this ability to plan your attack. As an example, this carrier is covering all entry points and I can't enter the upper level. Therefore I use the dark sight to find him and look through the cracks in the floor to wallbang him without exposing myself. And remember that you will only attract more hunters when you start shooting or activate the wellspring. If you are able to enter the same room as the carrier, I recommend you have consumable ready, either to force him to move out of his defensive position or to take him out, as you can see here. And don't be afraid to change your loadout on the spot. It is much better to change, as you can see here, for the shotgun for the close quarters, as I hear another hunter rushing into the boss lair. If the carrier is hiding in a location you can't enter, you can try to either wallbang him for the kill or just to make him peek so you can get a clear shot, just as the example here in the church tower. Now when you are holding the wellspring, you'll be restrained to a radius from where you activate the wellspring. This radius can be seen when you're close to its proximity and also on the map, so you know roughly where you will be restrained to. When it comes to surviving with the wellspring, it is a rather simple task, as the way QuickPlay is currently designed, it is by far the safest to sit inside a boss lair with a shotgun and set up traps. All you have to do now is simply to make sure you're not sitting completely still and cover the entry points you can't block off. And be sure to remember where the health stations and ammo crates are in case you need them for later. If you're feeling brave or don't want to sit still in the boss lair, you can also kill the hunters moving into your location and reduce the wellspring in the process. You will often have to rely on peeking windows and other openings, while only staying still when you're about to kill a hunter. If you pull this off, you will often have plenty of kills and shorten the time you have to survive by a great amount. Just be careful of those hunters that sneak into your position while you're making all the noise. You have my respect for not sitting inside a boss lair or building. However, it is also extremely hard to survive while running around in or outside a compound, and you will need to be a great shot to pull this off, as you'll be shot at from all directions and often by multiple hunters at the same time. Although running outside does have the potential to provide you with some great moments and a lot of kills, of course. If you still want to stay outside with the wellspring, or if you don't have a loadout to be in close quarters with, make sure you keep on the move and keep the enemies at the range that fits your loadout the best. In this case, I'm keeping the Winfield at a range where I only have to worry about headshots. However, I can still do plenty of damage with my Mosin here, regardless of headshots or not. Now, since QuickPlay can seem so chaotic and random, I decided to give you an overview of the 4 primary strategies or playstyles you will see and what you can expect from them. Starting off with the Rusher. This hunter type is all about speed. The only objective here is to be the first one to activate the wellspring, regardless of anything else. As the Rusher, you won't bother avoiding audio traps and you'll shoot anything as long as it's faster than walking around. While going through the rifts, the Rusher will avoid all gunfights unless it can't be helped. The rusher will only stop to loot if the items are directly in the path to the next rift, and will otherwise simply pick up a loadout in the compound of which he or she activates the wellspring in. From here on out, the rusher will often sit in a boss lair with traps and wait for the wellspring to run out while holding off other hunters. There is a high risk of being ambushed while going for the rifts, as you will be loud and everybody on the map will know where you are. You will often have a mediocre loadout and a kill streak as well, and this playstyle can feel rather campy and like intense gunfights. The difficulty level for the rusher is medium, but if you seek out the action while holding wellspring, it will be on a high difficulty with a lot of action. First off, you'll get a huge payoff if you manage to beat the sole survivor, as you will be tapping the wellspring often from 250 to 300 points, and you'll have all 4 traits as well. You won't have to deal with killing a wellspring carrier yourself, as you will always be the first one to pick it up. By avoiding gunfights and thereby staying safe, you'll always be able to tap some of the wellspring regardless of whether or not you survive hereafter. You will not need to kill a lot of hunters, as your enemies will often kill themselves with only a handful remaining to challenge you for the last moments. The hardest part of this playstyle is simply practicing being the fastest and planning the most efficient route to take. The killer is silent but efficient and has 2 objectives. One is going for the wellspring, second is to take down as much of the competition before activating the wellspring. Now, the killer is stealthy and spends most of its time killing enemy hunters while being efficient enough to activate the wellspring relatively fast. And even with the wellspring activated, the killer will often try to take down even more hunters. If the gunfight drags on, you will only get a few traits and usually need to deal with a defensive wellspring carrier. You need to know how to go unnoticed while being efficient while looting and picking up rifts, and the killer has a high difficulty as you'll be the one to see the most action. You will often have the highest kill count by far, usually with a good to great loadout, as you can loot the bodies of your kills. You can spend most of your time either setting up an ambush or joining multiple gunfights, and as a result of this, you may only have a few, if any, enemies left after you kill the wellspring carrier. You are unlikely due to stealth and efficiency to be ambushed, and there will be no campy feeling, as your objective is to kill as many as possible even with the wellspring. If the rusher is killed, you are likely to be the one activating the wellspring. Payoff is medium to high, depending on how quickly you can finish your gunfights and go for the wellspring. The hardest part of this playstyle is surviving all your gunfights and to be efficient at the same time. The looter also has 2 objectives. The first one is to become the sole survivor as safely as possible. The second is to find the greatest loadout to keep after the match. The looter is completely silent and spends all but the last moments on looting and staying out of trouble. When there are only a minute or 2 left, the looter will simply go in and try to take out the wellspring carrier with his or her perfect loadout. There will be little to no action until the last few minutes of the match, and the playstyle can feel rather campy. The payoff will be low in terms of traits and absorption of the wellspring. The looter, however, is by far the safest way to be the sole survivor. You'll have a great loadout to keep while looting stress-free for most of the match, and the total payoff is medium to high with a low difficulty. The careless one has no specific objectives in mind, it is simply about going into QuickPlay and doing whatever he or she wants to do. This playstyle is often loud and inefficient, with a lot of strange situations to be in. Rarely the sole survivor, as everybody will know where you are on the map, and you are at a high risk of being ambushed. Usually also with a low payoff due to inefficiency and a very high difficulty. It is, however, great for warming up or trying out new items or loadouts, or simply unlocking new items. Always develop to use a stamina shot, as it will save you a lot of time when you are sprinting across the map, and it can easily be the reason why you are the first one to activate the wellspring. The same goes for the first aid kit, as this is by far the greatest tool you can pick up in QuickPlay, and with it you won't have to worry about vitality shots, which means you have room for an offensive consumable. Just like in the regular bounty hunt, the rift or the clue in bounty hunt will glow red and make noise when someone else is nearby. This will probably be one of your biggest things to look out for or listen out for in QuickPlay, as it is probably the only thing that actually warns you if someone else is nearby, besides the double clue compounds where you should expect someone to be there regardless. When you are pushing in against a Wolfsman carrier, you can easily go through the fire or even a few traps if you're confident that he is either reloading or trying to heal himself up, as nobody will be expecting you to actually run through the fire or the traps to take out the kill. And the reason why you can do this confidently is that you'll get full health each time you kill a Wolfsman carrier. Waiting for the last moment to take out the Wolfsman carrier is a valid strategy, but be sure to time it well. As you can see in this case, the enemy hunter is simply dying to the fact that he doesn't take the chance, and I'm at no risk of losing at any point. This actually happens more often than you would think. GG guys. In QuickPlay, you will see a lot of shotguns, and the reason for this is that most of your fights will be in close to medium range, not to mention that shotguns are by far the greatest weapon to use when you're inside the most boss lairs. So even if you want to pick up the motion sniper, you may not even get the chance to use it when it comes to the end game. This doesn't mean you can't use the rifles in QuickPlay, as there are many opportunities to use them while running across the map. Just keep in mind that you have to work extra hard on your movement when it comes down to killing a Wellspring carrier or defending the Wellspring if you're inside a boss lair. In the regular bounty hunt, you can usually crouch walk or sneak a little bit. However, in QuickPlay, since the danger is all around you, even just standing still for a moment to loot a weapon will often cost you the game. So keep this in mind while you're moving through the world. Someone else will probably be watching you and take you out with an easy headshot. A bayonet or knife as backup will often save you in those close quarters if you don't want to use a shotgun and rather use a rifle like you see here with my Mosin. I find the greatest consumable to use is the flash bomb or the hellfire bomb, unless you're the Wellspring carrier, in which case the vitality shot will often do the trick, as you won't have to be offensive and advance towards a Wellspring carrier yourself. If you have a good all-round weapon, then using a silenced secondary can often save you a lot of time and allows for a much more stealthy approach with a reduced risk of being ambushed. If you like to go loud and proud, make sure to be efficient and stay on the move, as you'll be ambushed if you're sticking around for too long. Have a look out for supply points, as they will only be marked on your map after you discover them, and the odds are they have high tier weapons, besides a few consumables and the supplies of course. And lastly, if you are surrounded by enemies while holding a wellspring, you can change position to force them to chase you from the same direction, either to let them find and shoot each other, or to give you a better chance of predicting their movement and get an easy shot when they expose themselves trying to catch you. GG guys, well played all of you. Whew. A bit intense. That's it hunters, if you want to know more as I try to keep this guide short, you're more than welcome in the comment section. I will answer any and all questions you might have. If you enjoyed this QuickPlay guide, feel free to drop a like, and if you want to see more of these on Showdown videos, hit that subscribe button to let me know. Stay safe, and as always, I wish you a happy hunting.